The cargo ship drifted through the darkness like a dying star. Inside, Captain Velthar watched the life support readings drop lower with each passing minute. His scaled hands gripped the command console as another system failed. The lights flickered, then settled into a dim emergency glow that painted everything in sickly red. 8 hours, Kira said from the navigation station. Her insectoid body clicked nervously, antennae twitching with stress. Maybe less if we keep using power like this. Velthar closed his eyes. 8 hours. They were 3 weeks from the nearest civilized system. The Talon Nebula stretched around them in all directions, beautiful and deadly. Most species avoided this region. Pirates, radiation storms, and gravitational anomalies made it a graveyard for foolish pilots. He had been foolish. The shortcut would have saved his company 2 weeks of travel time. Now it would cost them their lives. Should we stop broadcasting? Thex asked. The Etherian engineer floated in his containment suit, the gas inside swirling with anxiety. Every pirate in the sector can hear that signal. It was true. Their distress call screamed across every frequency, begging for help that would likely never come. And if someone did answer, it would probably be raiders who saw easy prey. A damaged cargo ship with a small crew was worth stripping for parts, but silence meant certain death. Keep broadcasting, Velthar said. His voice carried the weight of command even though fear coiled in his stomach like a cold serpent. Maybe we'll get lucky. Kira made a chittering sound that might have been a laugh. Lucky in the Talon Nebula? Captain, we used all our luck just surviving the engine failure. She was right. The quantum drive had simply stopped working. No warning, no gradual failure. One moment they were jumping through folded space. The next they were dumped into normal space with catastrophic damage throughout the ship's core systems. Emergency protocols had barely saved them from an immediate reactor breach. Now they drifted, bleeding heat into the void while their oxygen slowly depleted. Velthar had sent messages to his company, to his family, to anyone who might hear. He recorded everything in the ship's log. Someday someone might find the wreckage and know what happened to the crew of the Brightness of Dawn. Hours crawled past. The temperature dropped. They wore thermal suits now, but even those wouldn't help when the life support finally died. Velthar found himself thinking about his homeworld, the warm rocks where he had basked as a child. He would never feel that warmth again. Contact, Kira suddenly shouted. I'm receiving a response. Everyone rushed to her station. Velthar's heart hammered against his ribs. This was it, either salvation or doom. The message crackled through their damaged communication system. The voice spoke in standard galactic trade language, but the accent was strange. Harsh consonants and oddly melodic tones. This is the UHSV Wandering Star. We're changing course to your position. ETA 6 hours. Hold tight. Velthar stared at the communication panel. UHSV, United Human Space Vessel. Humans. Did they just say 6 hours? Thex asked. That's impossible. The nearest known ship was at least 12 hours away when we started broadcasting. Check the signal source, Velthar ordered. Kira's fingers danced across her console. Confirmed. They're transmitting from... Captain, they're only 4 light hours away, and closing fast. What were humans doing out here? Velthar wondered aloud. Humans were known throughout the galaxy, but their reputation was complicated. They had joined the greater galactic community only 200 years ago, practically yesterday in cosmic terms. Some species praised their innovation and friendliness. Others warned about their unpredictability and tendency toward violence. Velthar had met a human once at a trading station. The creature had been shorter than him, with soft skin and strange fur only on its head. It had smiled constantly, showing flat teeth, and talked very fast about things Velthar didn't understand. The encounter had been brief and confusing. Should we respond? Kira asked. Velthar thought about pirates. He thought about the stories he'd heard of humans doing strange, reckless things. He thought about 6 hours versus 8 hours of oxygen. Tell them we copy their message, and thank them. The response came quickly. Good to hear. We're pushing our engines hard. Might get there in 5.5. Hang in there, friends. Friends. The human had called them friends. They had never met, would never see each other again after this rescue. Yet the human used that word so casually. They're really coming, Thex said quietly. I didn't think anyone would answer. Neither had Velthar. Ships didn't venture into the Talon Nebula without very good reasons. Answering a distress call from strangers definitely wasn't a good reason. It was dangerous and expensive and offered no reward except the satisfaction of helping someone. Most species in the galaxy operated on contracts and trade agreements. You paid for services rendered. You didn't risk your ship and crew for free. Apparently humans were different. 5.5 hours, Velthar said. We can make it. Reduce all non-essential power. Dim the lights further. Lower the temperature 3 more degrees. They waited in the cold and dark. Every minute felt like an hour. Velthar kept checking the scanners, watching the human ship approach. It was moving fast, faster than was probably safe in this region of space. The humans were really pushing their engines, just like they said. Why? Why risk so much for strangers? With 1 hour remaining, Kira picked up something else on the sensors. Captain, we have 3 more ships entering scanner range. Different vector. They're not broadcasting identification. Velthar's blood went cold. Pirates! Probably, Kira confirmed. They're closing on our position. They must have heard our distress call too. Of course, the distress signal that had brought the humans would also bring scavengers. And the pirates were closer. Can we contact the human ship? Velthar asked. Already done, Kira said. I sent them a warning. The response came within seconds. The human voice was different now, harder, more focused. We see them. Don't worry. We'll be there first. 3 words that should have sounded foolish. The pirates had numbers and weapons. The human ship was alone and built for exploration, not combat. By any logical calculation, the smart move would be for the humans to retreat and save themselves. But the voice on the radio didn't sound like someone planning to retreat. 30 minutes, Kira announced. Velthar watched both sets of ships on his scanner. The human vessel pushed even harder, its engine signature burning bright on the sensors. The pirates maintained their course, probably confident they could deal with 1 rescue ship. Neither side was backing down. They're insane, Thex whispered. The humans. They're actually going to fight for us. Maybe they were insane. Or maybe they were something else. Something the galaxy hadn't seen in a long time. Velthar settled back in his command chair and waited. In 28 minutes they would have their answer. Either they would be saved by reckless humans, killed by pirates, or die watching 2 groups of strangers fight over their worthless cargo ship. The distress signal continued broadcasting into the void. But now, against all odds, someone had answered, someone human. The human ship arrived like a meteor. Velthar watched through the viewport as the vessel dropped out of faster-than-light travel, with a flash of blue energy. The wandering star was smaller than he expected, maybe twice the size of his cargo ship. It looked sturdy rather than elegant, with mismatched hull plates and external equipment pods that suggested frequent modifications. It was also positioned directly between the brightness of dawn and the approaching pirate vessels. Pirate ships are holding position, Kira reported. They're not attacking. They're thinking, Thex said. Trying to figure out if the human ship is worth the trouble. Velthar understood. Pirates preferred easy targets. A ship willing to put itself in harm's way might have weapons, might have skilled crew, might cost them more than the salvage was worth. The calculus was simple for predators. If the prey looked dangerous, find easier prey. The human voice came over the radio again. Brightness of dawn, this is Captain Jiwoo of the Wandering Star. We're going to dock with your ship. Please prepare to receive an umbilical connection on your portside airlock. Our ship is damaged, Velthar replied. We're spinning slowly on our axis. Docking will be dangerous. There was a pause. Then, we've docked with worse. Just sit tight. Velthar watched in amazement as the human ship matched their rotation perfectly. Thrusters fired in precise bursts, bringing the vessels together like dancers. The umbilical connection extended and locked with a solid thunk that resonated through the hull. Docking complete, a different human voice said, female calm. We're opening our side, pressurizing the connection. You should have atmosphere in your airlock in about 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Velthar's crew hurried to the airlock. They wore their emergency suits, unsure what to expect. Would the humans demand payment? Would they try to take control of the ship? Every species had its own customs around rescue operations. The inner airlock door opened. Warm air rushed in, carrying strange smells. Something sharp and chemical, something organic, something Velthar couldn't identify. Then the humans came through. There were 4 of them. They wore matching dark blue uniforms with various equipment strapped to their bodies. No environmental suits, no breathing apparatus. They simply walked into the damaged alien ship as if they were visiting a friend's home. The lead human was male, shorter than Velthar, but broader in the shoulders. His face was weathered, his eyes dark and alert. He smiled, showing those strange flat teeth. "Captain Velthar?" the human asked, extending his hand. Velthar knew this gesture. Humans clasped hands as greeting. He reached out carefully, mindful of his claws, and the human gripped firmly. "I'm Captain Jiwoo. This is Chief Engineer Tae-young, Medical Officer Hana, and Security Officer Dae-hyun." He gestured to each in turn. "Let's get your ship working again." Tae-young, a lean man with quick movements, was already looking at the walls. "Where's your engine room?" "Down that corridor, but the radiation levels," Velthar began. "Scanned it before we docked," Tae-young interrupted. "It's elevated, but not dangerous for short exposure. I'll be fine." He jogged off without waiting for permission. Hana, a woman with gentle eyes, approached Kira and Thex. "Are any of you injured? Having trouble breathing? The oxygen in here is pretty low." "We're managing," Kira said, though her antennae were drooping with exhaustion. "Let's get you some good air anyway." Hana pulled devices from her bag and placed them around the room. They began humming softly, and Velthar felt the difference immediately. Fresher air. More oxygen. He took a deep breath without realizing how shallow his breathing had become. Dae-hyun stayed near the airlock, watching the corridor. His hand rested near a weapon on his belt, but his posture was relaxed. Vigilant, but not aggressive, Jiwoo looked at the command console and whistled. "You had a hard stop, didn't you? Quantum drive failure?" "Yes," Velthar said. "Complete cascade. We're lucky the reactor didn't breach. Very lucky." Jiwoo studied the readings. "We brought emergency power cells and oxygen canisters. That'll buy us time to work on the real problems." He spoke into a small device on his wrist. "Tae-young, what are we looking at?" The engineer's voice crackled back. "It's bad, real bad. The quantum coils are fused. We can't fix this with what we have." Velthar's heart sank. He had suspected as much, but hearing it confirmed felt like a death sentence. "Then we're still stranded." Jiwoo held up a hand. "Let him finish. Can't fix it their way," Tae-young continued. "But I might be able to jury-rig something with our jump drive components. It'll be ugly and it won't be fast, but it should get you home." "That's impossible," Thex said. "Human technology and Saurian technology are completely incompatible. Different power systems, different dimensional calculations, different doesn't mean impossible." Tae-young's grinning face appeared in the doorway. He was covered in grime already. "Just means interesting. I love interesting." Over the next few hours, the humans worked with efficient chaos. They brought equipment from their ship, jury-rigged power connections, and somehow made Velthar's dying vessel start coming back to life. Systems that should have stayed dead flickered on. The temperature slowly climbed toward comfortable levels. Hana insisted the alien crew eat something. She produced packages of human food from her supplies. "It's not much, but it's hot and it has calories." Velthar opened the package carefully. The smell was intense, almost overwhelming. Something spicy and complex. He took a small bite and his mouth exploded with sensation. "Heat, salt, fat, something sweet underneath. Too spicy?" Hana asked, looking concerned. "It's very strong," Velthar managed. His tongue felt like it was burning. But underneath the heat was genuine flavor, and he realized he was hungrier than he thought. "But good. Thank you." Kira tried her package and made a sound somewhere between pleasure and pain. "Humans eat this regularly?" "That's actually mild for us," Hana said with a laugh. "We like our food with some kick." As they ate, Jiwoo explained that his ship had been conducting mineral surveys in the nebula. "Not many ships come out here, so there are resources nobody's claimed yet. We weren't expecting to find anyone in trouble." "But you came anyway," Velthar said. "You dropped your mission to save us." Jiwoo shrugged like it was nothing. "The minerals will still be there tomorrow." "You wouldn't have been." It was said so simply, as if the choice was obvious. No mention of payment or contracts or compensation. They had simply helped because someone needed help. "The pirates are still out there," Dae-hyun said from his position. He hadn't moved from the airlock, still watching. 3 ships. "They're keeping their distance, but they haven't left. They're waiting," Jiwoo said. "Hoping we'll leave or they'll find an opening." "Why don't you leave?" Velthar asked. "You've given us supplies. You could go and we would have a chance." Jiwoo looked at him with those strange human eyes. "We're not leaving until your ship can fly. Those pirates would be on you the moment we disappeared. But there are 3 of them. You're one ship. One ship is all we need." Jiwoo smiled that human smile. We're not going anywhere. Tae-young's voice came over the communication system again. Captain, I think I've got something. Come down here and tell me if I'm crazy. Jiwoo stood and gestured for Velthar to follow. As they walked to the engine room, Velthar tried to understand these humans. They risked themselves for strangers. They worked without promise of payment. They smiled in the face of danger. His species would have calculated the odds, filed reports, waited for proper authorization. These humans simply acted. In the engine room, Tae-young had torn apart both Saurian and human equipment, creating something that looked like it should never work. Cables and conduits connected in ways that violated every engineering principle Velthar knew. This is insane, Velthar said. Probably, Tae-young agreed cheerfully, but I think it'll fly. 2 days passed in a blur of work and conversation. Velthar had never seen anything like Tae-young's approach to engineering. The human treated impossible problems like puzzles to solve rather than walls to stop him. Your people design everything in perfect circles, Tae-young explained while connecting a human power conduit to a Saurian quantum relay. Every piece fits exactly right. Beautiful, efficient, but if one piece breaks, the whole thing stops. He held up a mess of wires and adapters. Humans build in spirals. Messy, redundant, weird. But if something breaks, we can route around it. Make it work anyway. Kira watched from beside him, fascinated. She had barely left the engine room, studying every modification the human made. But this shouldn't work. The power frequencies are completely different. Shouldn't and doesn't are different things, Tae-young said. He activated the connection and the Saurian relay hummed to life, running on human power in a way no engineer should have made possible. See, working. That's amazing, Kira breathed. Tae-young grinned. That's engineering. While they worked on the engines, Velthar spent time with Jiwoo on the bridge. The human captain helped him restore navigation systems, and they talked. It was strange how easily conversation flowed between them, despite being completely different species from different worlds. Can I ask you something? Velthar said. Why did you really come? I've been thinking about it. You had no obligation, no contract, no profit, just danger and expense. Jiwoo was quiet for a moment, his hands steady as he rewired a console. You sent a distress call. You asked for help. Many species ignore distress calls, I know. Jiwoo looked up. On my world on Earth, we have oceans. Huge bodies of water. For thousands of years, sailors had a law. If you see someone drowning, you help them. Doesn't matter if they're your enemy. Doesn't matter if it's dangerous. You help because someday you might be the one drowning. But you're not in an ocean. You're in space. Same principle. Jiwoo returned to his work. Besides, we're human. We're curious. We wondered who was out here, and we thought maybe we could help. So we came. It was both simple and profound. Velthar thought about his own species, the Saurians. They were cautious, careful, risk-averse. They survived by being smart and safe. They rarely innovated because innovation was risky. They rarely helped strangers because strangers were unpredictable. They had been spacefaring for 10,000 years and controlled maybe a dozen systems. Humans had been in space for 200 years and were everywhere. They spread through the galaxy like wildfire. Not through conquest, but through sheer momentum. They went places others avoided, tried things others thought impossible, and helped people others ignored. Maybe that was why they were succeeding where older species stagnated. In the cargo bay, Hana worked with Thex on medical supplies. The Etherian had been curious about human biology, and Hana was happy to explain. We're pretty fragile compared to most species, she said. No natural armor, no environmental resistance, not even particularly strong. But we heal fast and we're adaptable. How adaptable? Thex asked. Very. Hana pulled up a file on her tablet. Humans live in deserts, frozen tundras, jungles, mountains. Places that would kill most species. We eat an incredible variety of foods. We can function in a wide range of temperatures and atmospheres. We're generalists. That must make you weak. Specialists are more efficient. Maybe. Hana considered this. But specialists can't adapt when conditions change. When our world changed, when things got hard, we survived by being flexible. We learned to eat new things, live in new places, think in new ways. She looked at Thex's containment suit. Your species needs specific atmospheric conditions. Mine needs oxygen, but we can handle a lot of variation. That flexibility lets us go places you can't. Thex pulsed with colors that indicated thinking. So humanity's strength is having no specific strength? Sort of, Hana smiled. Our strength is that we can become whatever we need to be. That evening, both crews shared a meal in the cargo bay. The humans had brought more of their food, and this time Velthar was prepared for the intensity. They ate something Jiwoo called stew, thick with meat and vegetables in a rich broth. It was different from anything Velthar had tasted, but satisfying. "Tell me about Earth," Kira asked. "What's your homeworld like?" "Beautiful and terrible," Jiwoo said. "We have blue skies and green forests, vast oceans and tall mountains, but also volcanoes, earthquakes, hurricanes, droughts. Our world tried to kill us regularly. How did you survive?" "By being stubborn." Daehyun spoke up from where he sat near the door, still keeping watch even during meals. "My grandfather used to say that humans are too stupid to know when to quit. When nature said stop, we said no." "That sounds dangerous," Velthar said. "It is." Jiwoo nodded. "We lose people to that stubbornness, but we also achieve impossible things. We climbed the highest mountains because they were there. We crossed the oceans because we wondered what was on the other side. We went to space because we looked up and wanted to touch the stars. Most species went to space because they needed resources, or were running from something," Thex observed. "We went because we were curious." Hana's voice was soft. "And because some human long ago looked at the sky and said, 'I wonder what's up there.' That's very human. We wonder, so we explore." Velthar thought about that. His people went to space when they had perfected the technology, when it was safe and profitable. The Saurians didn't take unnecessary risks, but humans launched themselves into the void on primitive rockets, not knowing if they would survive, just to see what was possible. That same recklessness had brought them to the Talon Nebula, and that same recklessness had saved Velthar's life. "I need to tell you something," Velthar said. "Before we met, I was afraid of humans. I'd heard stories, that you were violent, unpredictable, dangerous." Jiwoo didn't look offended. "Some of that is true. We can be violent when we need to be. We are unpredictable, and we're definitely dangerous, but you're also kind, generous, brave." "Also true." Jiwoo smiled. "Humans are contradictions. We're capable of great cruelty and great compassion, sometimes the same person on the same day. We're complicated. That doesn't bother you? Why would it? We are what we are." Jiwoo gestured around the room. "We could have ignored your signal and stayed safe. Or we could have come here, seen the pirates, and left. But we didn't. Because while humans can be selfish and cruel, we can also be better than that. We choose to be better when we can." "Not all species have that choice," Kira said quietly. "Everyone has that choice," Hana corrected gently. "Some just don't take it." The conversation shifted to lighter topics. Taeyoung told a story about accidentally flooding a space station's bathroom. Daehyun shared a tale about his sister's terrible cooking. Kira described the time she navigated through an asteroid field by instinct when her instruments failed. They laughed together, humans and aliens, strangers who had become something like friends. Velthar realized this was something special. Not just the rescue, but this connection between species who barely knew each other. Later, as Velthar checked the bridge systems, he made a log entry. "These humans are unlike anything I expected. They help without asking for payment. They work without demanding contracts. They risk themselves for others. I don't understand them, but I'm grateful they exist." Outside, the pirate ship still waited in the darkness, patient as predators. But inside the two connected vessels, humans and aliens worked together, building something that shouldn't work but did anyway, just like the humans themselves. The attack came without warning. One moment, Velthar was reviewing the navigation systems with Kira. The next, alarms screamed throughout both ships. Daehyun's voice cut through the chaos. 3 contacts inbound. "The pirates are moving!" Velthar rushed to the command console. On the sensors, the 3 pirate vessels were accelerating toward them. They had waited days watching, and now they were done waiting. Jiwoo appeared on the bridge within seconds, Taeyoung right behind him. The human captain's relaxed demeanor was gone, replaced by cold focus. "Status? Your ship can detach and run," Velthar said quickly. "We're not ready to fly yet. Save yourselves. Not happening." Jiwoo moved to the communication station. "Taeyoung, how close are we?" "Give me 10 minutes and I can get their engines online. Maybe. You have 5. That's not enough. 5 minutes." Jiwoo opened a channel to the pirate ships. "This is Captain Jiwoo of the Wandering Star. You're approaching a rescue operation. Turn away now." The response came in a harsh, growling voice. "This is War Chief Grax. You have stolen our salvage. Surrender both ships and we will let you live. There's no salvage here, just a disabled ship that we're helping. Leave now and there won't be trouble. Grax laughed, a sound like grinding metal. You are one small ship. We are three. Your reputation for stupidity is well earned, human. You should have left these prey when you had the chance. Jiwoo's expression didn't change. Our reputation for stubbornness is better earned. You should leave while you can. Another laugh. We will take your ship apart and sell it for scrap. After we kill everyone aboard, the channel closed. The pirate ships continued their approach, spreading out to surround their targets. They mean it, Velthar said. Grax is known in this sector. He doesn't take prisoners? Neither do we. Jiwoo touched his wrist communicator. Hana, get everyone into emergency suits. Daehyun, weapons ready. Taeyoung, I need those engines yesterday. Working on it. The engineer's voice was strained. Velthar watched the human captain move around the bridge with purpose. Jiwoo pulled up tactical displays, ran calculations, checked weapon systems. The Wandering Star wasn't a military vessel, but it wasn't defenseless either. What can we do? Velthar asked. Get your crew ready. When those engines come online, you're going to need to fly. Jiwoo glanced at him. Can you pilot with damaged systems? If I have to, you have to. Jiwoo returned his attention to the tactical screen. Kira, I need you on sensors. Call out everything you see. Thex, can you handle emergency power distribution? The aliens moved to their stations without question. They had no weapons training, no combat experience, but they could help keep the ship running. The pirate ships were closer now. 3 vessels, each larger than the Wandering Star, each designed for fighting. They moved with confidence, expecting an easy victory. 2 minutes, Taeyoung called out. I need 2 more minutes. We don't have 2 minutes. Jiwoo's hands moved across his console. Everyone hang on. The Wandering Star disconnected from the brightness of dawn with a clang. Velthar felt his stomach drop as his ship became truly alone again. But the human vessel didn't run. Instead, it moved between the pirates and their target, positioning itself as a shield. That's suicide, Velthar whispered. The pirates opened fire. Energy beams sliced through space, converging on the Wandering Star. Jiwoo's ship twisted and rolled, thrusters firing in patterns that seemed random but somehow avoided most of the incoming fire. The shots that connected splashed against shields, draining power but not penetrating. Return fire, Jiwoo said calmly. The Wandering Star's weapons were defensive, designed to deter rather than destroy. But in Daehyun's skilled hands, they punched through the lead pirate ship's shields and scored hits on its hull. Not critical damage, but enough to get attention. They're angry now, Kira reported. All 3 are focusing on the human ship. Good. Jiwoo threw the Wandering Star into a dive that defied physics. The ship spun, rolled, and accelerated in directions that made Velthar's head spin. Keep them focused on us. Taeyoung, please tell me you have good news. 1 more minute. I swear, 1 more minute. But the pirates weren't giving them a minute. 2 ships pressed the attack from different angles while the third moved to flank. They were trying to surround the human vessel, eliminate its mobility. Jiwoo saw it too. Daehyun, dump cargo containers. Kyra, target them with sensors. Make them light up. Velthar didn't understand until he saw it happen. The Wandering Star ejected cargo containers into space, then painted them with targeting lasers. To the pirates' sensors, each container would look like a missile or mine. They scattered, breaking their attack formation to avoid the fake threats. Clever. Grax's voice came over the open channel. But tricks won't save you, human. Don't need tricks. Jiwoo pulled the Wandering Star into an impossible turn. Just need you to make a mistake. The pirate leader made that mistake a moment later. Frustrated by the evasive human ship, Grax ordered all 3 vessels to fire simultaneously on the same point. Overwhelming firepower to punch through the shields. But the Wandering Star wasn't there when the shots converged. Jiwoo had predicted the tactic and moved. The concentrated fire missed completely and hit nothing but empty space. And in that moment of commitment, when all 3 pirate ships were pointing the same direction, firing the same target, Jiwoo made his move. Taeyoung, now or never. Engines are up. They're up! Not pretty, but they're up. Velthar, fly. Jiwoo shouted. The brightness of dawn lurched forward, its cobbled-together engine system roaring to life. It wasn't graceful. It wasn't fast. But it was moving. And Jiwoo did something no sane pilot would attempt. He activated the Wandering Star's jump drive for a micro-jump, the shortest possible faster-than-light hop. In normal space, in a debris field, in the middle of a combat situation, the human ship simply vanished from one location and reappeared in another, as if it had teleported. One moment it was in the pirates' crosshairs. The next it was behind them, weapons firing. Impossible! Grax roared. That's impossible. We're human, Jiwoo replied. We don't care about impossible. The pirates broke formation in confusion. Their predictable tactics had been defeated by human unpredictability. One ship tried to pursue the fleeing brightness of dawn but found the wandering star in its path. Another attempted to escape, realizing this was no longer an easy fight. The third, Grax's ship, tried to ram the human vessel in desperation. Jiwoo dodged at the last moment, and Grax's ship plowed through empty space at full speed, unable to stop its momentum. They're retreating, Kira called out. All three ships are turning away. It was true. The pirates were fleeing, running from a single human ship and a crew that refused to behave logically. Velthar heard Grax's final transmission as the pirates jumped away. They're insane. Fall back, fall back. The bridge was silent for a moment. Then Taeyoung's whoop of joy echoed through the communication system. Did we just win? Tell me we won! We won, Jiwoo confirmed. He was breathing hard now, the adrenaline of combat fading. Everyone okay? Velthar checked his crew, shaken but alive. He looked at the tactical display where the wandering star and brightness of dawn drifted together in the empty space. Against all odds, they had survived. 3 days later, both ships docked at Refuge Station, a neutral trading post on the edge of civilized space. The brightness of dawn flew on its strange hybrid engine, makeshift but functional. The wandering star escorted it the entire way, refusing to leave until they were safe. Word had spread fast. A human ship had fought off 3 pirate vessels. A cargo crew had been saved in the Talon Nebula, a place most considered a death sentence. As they approached the station, Velthar saw dozens of ships on the sensors. Everyone wanted to see the humans who did the impossible. The docking went smoothly. Velthar felt his legs shake as he stepped onto solid station deck for the first time in weeks. He had thought he would never feel artificial gravity again, never breathe station air, never see his family. Jiwoo stood beside him, looking tired but satisfied. The human captain had barely slept during their journey to safety, always watching the sensors for threats. You can go now, Velthar said. You've done more than enough. Soon, Jiwoo smiled. Want to make sure you're really safe first? Velthar reached into his uniform and pulled out a data chip. This is payment. Everything my company owes for the rescue. It's substantial. Jiwoo looked at the chip but didn't take it. We didn't do this for money, I know. But you spent resources, risked your lives, used your time. Please accept payment. You earned it. The human shook his head. Keep it. Use it to fix your ship properly. Get your cargo delivered. He smiled. Just pass it forward someday. If you see someone who needs help, help them. Before Velthar could argue, a group of aliens approached. He recognized representatives from several species, a Chithari dignitary, a Krovar merchant, an Etherian scholar. They all wanted to speak with Captain Jiwoo. The Chithari spoke first. We heard about your rescue. Very impressive. Very brave. Just doing what anyone should do, Jiwoo replied, but most don't. The Krovar merchant clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. Most calculate cost versus benefit. Most protect their own first. Your species is different. Maybe, Jiwoo shrugged. Or maybe we're just new enough to remember what it's like to need help. The Etherian scholar pulsed with curious colors. Your tactics against the pirates were studied by our strategists. They made no sense. Random, chaotic, illogical. That's kind of our thing, Taeyoung said. He had joined them looking pleased with himself. We don't follow the standard playbook. Because you don't know the playbook? The scholar asked. Because we don't care about the playbook. Taeyoung grinned. We write our own as we go. More beings approached throughout the day. Some were curious. Some were suspicious. Some clearly wanted to establish trade relations with these strange, helpful humans. Jiwoo handled them all with the same calm friendliness, never promising more than he could deliver. Kira found Velthar in the evening. The Chithari navigator looked different, more confident. I've been thinking. I want to study human engineering. Your people build things in ways we never considered. You want to leave our crew? No. I want to learn and bring that knowledge back. She touched her antennae together. a gesture of excitement. Captain, humans have been in space for just 200 years. In that time, they've innovated more than most species do in 10,000. They're not smarter than us. They're just willing to try things we would never attempt. Velthar understood. He had seen it himself. Humans succeeded not through superiority, but through stubbornness and creativity. They made impossible things work because they refused to accept that anything was truly impossible. The next morning, Velthar received a transmission from his company. He expected praise for surviving, maybe concern for the cargo. Instead, he got something unexpected. Captain Velthar, your report has reached the Saurian Coalition Council. They want to meet with the human captain who saved you. They want to discuss formal relations with the human government. Velthar stared at the message. Formal relations? The Saurian Coalition rarely initiated diplomatic contact with anyone. They preferred to wait, observe, calculate the risks. But the humans had impressed them enough to break that pattern. He found Jiwoo on the observation deck looking out at the stars. My government wants to meet with you, to establish formal diplomatic relations. Jiwoo looked surprised. Because we saved your ship? Because you showed what humans are capable of. Courage, innovation, compassion. These are traits the galaxy values but rarely sees in practice. We're just people trying to do the right thing. That's exactly why they want to meet you. Velthar stood beside the human, looking at the same stars. Most species in the galaxy operate on self-interest. Trade contracts, careful calculations. But you helped us without contracts. You fought for us without payment. You risked everything for strangers. He turned to look at Jiwoo. The galaxy needs that. Needs to remember that civilization isn't just about profit and safety. It's about being better than our fears. Throughout the day, more species representatives arrived. The Talon Nebula incident had become famous. The story spread across communication networks, grew in the telling, became something larger than the event itself. A small human exploration ship had saved aliens in distress, had fought pirates to protect strangers, had refused payment and asked only that the kindness be passed forward. It was a simple story, but it resonated across the galaxy. That evening, both crews gathered one last time for dinner. The humans would leave tomorrow, return to their mineral survey mission. The brightness of dawn would undergo proper repairs before completing its delivery route. I'll miss you, Hana said to Thex. I've learned so much about Etherian biology, fascinating species, and I've learned that humans are more durable than they appear, Thex replied. Your bodies are weak by galactic standards, but your spirits are incredibly strong. Daehyun shared a drink with Kira. If you ever need security advice, call me. I'll talk you through it. And if you ever need navigation through difficult space, I'll help. Kira's antennae waved happily. We're friends now. Friends. That word again. Velthar realized it applied to all of them now. They had started as strangers from different species who barely understood each other. Now they were friends who had survived impossible odds together. Jiwoo stood to make a toast. To new friends across the stars. To helping each other when we can. To choosing to be better than our fears. Everyone raised their glasses, cups, or containers. To choosing better. Later in private, Velthar made a final log entry. First contact protocol states we should avoid unpredictable species. But I've learned that unpredictable can mean hopeful, can mean brave, can mean kind. Perhaps humanity's chaos is exactly what the galaxy needs. They remind us that we can be more than careful calculators. We can be heroes, too. The next morning, the wandering star undocked from Refuge Station. Velthar watched it go, feeling something like sadness, but also hope, because he had seen what was possible when someone chose to help rather than ignore. As the human ship jumped away, a message came through. Jiwoo's voice warm and friendly one last time. Safe travels, Velthar. See you among the stars. See you among the stars, Velthar repeated. The station buzzed with activity. Representatives from a dozen species wanted to meet humans now. Wanted to understand them, wanted to establish relations. One small rescue had changed the political landscape. Kira approached with a datapad. Captain, I've been tracking the communication traffic. At least 15 species are requesting human diplomatic contact. 23 universities want to study human tactics and engineering. There are over 100 news organizations covering the story. All because of one rescue, all because they did it without hesitation, without calculating the cost, without demanding payment. Kira's antennae waved thoughtfully. Most species forgot that helping others is its own reward. Humans reminded us. Velthar looked out the viewport at the stars. Somewhere out there, the wandering star continued its mission. Somewhere, Jiwoo and his crew were being human. Exploring, helping, choosing to be better. And the galaxy, ancient and set in its ways, was starting to change. Species that had ignored each other were talking. Diplomatic channels opened. Trade routes expanded, all because some humans answered a distress call in the Talon Nebula and refused to leave anyone behind. Velthar smiled. He had been abandoned in deep space, certain of death, until a human ship answered. And now, because of that answer, everything was different. He had one more thing to do. He recorded a message to the Saurian Coalition Council. Request permission to establish a formal rescue protocol based on human principles. If someone sends a distress call, we answer. No calculations, no contracts. We simply help because someone asked for help. It would be revolutionary for his species. Risky, illogical by traditional standards. But he had learned from the best teachers. Sometimes the illogical choice was the right choice. Sometimes helping others was worth any cost. Sometimes being more like humans was exactly what the galaxy needed. Outside, the stars shone bright and endless, and somewhere among them humans wandered, explored and answered distress calls from strangers, making the galaxy a little better, one rescue at a time.